Welcome to Real Conversations, exploring the meaning behind the music. Hi, I'm Robert Brzezinski.
And I'm Jeannie Kataoka. And together, we're having real conversations with your favorite New Thought artists.
Join us as we take a deep dive into the inspiration and meaning behind the music of New Thought. Our guests are ready to share stories from their spiritual journey and creative process with you.
Real Conversations is a chance to look behind the curtain and connect with your favorite New Thought artists.
So let's dive right in. Real Conversations, exploring the meaning behind the music.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Kataoka, and I'm here today with my co-host Al Yankee, and you are watching Real Conversations.
We're here with Dail Croome, leader of the band Daring Greatly. This is a wonderful band, originally from Canada and now from San Diego, that we're going to get familiar with today, if you're not already. The name of the band, Daring Greatly, comes from a speech that Theodore Roosevelt gave in 1910, which is often referred to as the man in the arena. So I'm going to be Theodore Roosevelt here for just a second. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat.
This inspiring message captured the imagination of the original band members, who were from the sunny eastern foothills of Canada's Rocky Mountains. In 2014, they formed a group based in Calgary, Alberta, that included Dail Croome, who is with us today, his two sons, Patrick and Liam, along with their best friend, Braden Tario. And using their harmony-rich rock and roll sound, they have updated the folk rock and Americana traditions of the 60s and 70s.
So we're going to get to know Dail much better here in just a few moments, but we need to hear something from the band first, especially if this is your first time getting familiar with them. So we're going to listen from Daring Greatly's 2016 album, Cornerstones. This is Find Your Serenity.
Try my best to improvise and take it all in as it comes. Can't let the little things linger in your mind, no. Not gonna waste any more of my time. Here for this moment, can't let it slip away. Stop worrying about all the things I can't change. Breathe every breath, it'll never be too late. Find your serenity. Whoa. Sun is shining on my face, breathing in the wide open air. I ain't got no right to complain. We all heard our fair share. Oh, serenity.
Oh man, I love that track. That's just great stuff. The sound of this track, to me, Dale, it really reminds me of the band backing up Dylan. The organ and the vocals, the triple meter of it, that harks back to those Scotch Irish folk songs, the modal harmonies. It's wonderful stuff.
Thank
Uh,
you.
yeah, what can you tell us about this song, "Find Your Serenity"?
We're always exploring and discovering how we can go deeper and how we can bring meaning to everything in our lives, and we realize that there's a lot of people out there that are maybe addicted to this busyness, and if we start becoming more aware of where we find our serenity, which is maybe out in nature and all of those things that are sort of soul inspiring. Those are the things that keep us healthy, keep us alive, keep us motivated to show up when we're fearful. It comes from that deep soulful place to make sure that we take time to pause and to go inward and find those places.
That's great. It's in those lyrics, live for this moment, can't let it slip away. Gonna stop worrying about all the things I can't change.
Yeah, we all hurt our fair share. I love that line.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we're always so, and I say we as in the collective. We're always so ready to sort of point the finger at these external reasons and all these things that are keeping us back and holding us back. But once we get to that beautiful moment where all the accountability lies with us, then we really get to start healing internally, and then that starts to project externally.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
So I was not only listening to the song, but also watching the video that you guys made on YouTube with the hang gliding. I've got a good friend who's kind of a noted hang glider. He's actually sort of my partner in crime on a lot of my musical ventures, Scott Smith. And I know that's how he finds his serenity. I know that that's how he gets away from the world.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you have any connection with hang gliding, or was that just a wonderful idea?
Yeah, when for the last maybe 6 or 7 years, we've been during the summer, except for whatever's happening. I don't even like to say the word with what's happening. We haven't been back to Canada, but we usually go back to British Columbia, and there's a place in British Columbia, interior British Columbia, that has a flight park. And we've become really good friends with the owners, and so both the boys, we all trained to be hang gliders. I like the ground a little bit more, and I think our drummer liked the ground a little bit more. But Patrick and Liam, they've both done several solo flights, and so we're very connected with that community, and we've actually written a lot of songs about the different perspective once your feet leaves the ground, and then even the metaphor of flying or being up in the air. It's and looking down at the world, and the small becomes smaller and the big becomes small, and there's so many just really cool things about flying in general that makes you see things differently, I guess.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
So I think that even the lyrics to Find Your Serenity, even in that one example, it's obvious that the band's lyrics encompass deep and introspective messages. So who are these guys? We have Dail as who's here with us, and he does vocals, and then his son Patrick Croome plays acoustic guitar and does vocals, and son Liam Croome does keyboards and vocals, including Hammond B3. I noticed. Braden Braden Tario is on drums and backup vocals. And the newest member, David Mills, plays electric guitar and pedal steel. And then a gentleman who almost always records with them is Jamie Moyer, who plays bass. So that's who everybody is. What I thought, the next song up that we're going to play is Reflections of Me. Would you like to talk about that a little bit?
Well, we touched on that a little bit about just the accountability of life, and the truth is that everything that we see externally is coming from us, and so that's what that song is about. Is everything's just a reflection of us. So how we're healing and how we're growing internally is what we see the world as, and how we perceive the world, and that ultimate level of accountability is probably going to help us to get beyond some of the human silliness that exists now.
I chose to talk about this one because of the bongos on it. So that was the bongero on this was Enrique Platas.
Yeah. It's called Serenity Ranch, and it's on top of Palomar Mountain. We have a friend that owns 67 acres up there, Nate Harrison Ranch, and Vicki Morgan has been doing a women's drum circle in San Diego for over 20 years. And so when we were on her property and we were doing a festival called the Rock and Soul Festival, it was our festival that we created. We had this beat, but we knew what was kind of going to happen at the festival with hundreds of people beating drums. And Patrick had a wonderful riff from Reflections of Me, but we hadn't written the song yet. And so when they were hundreds of people were doing the drums at this festival, Patrick started playing this riff to those drums. And then he said, Dail, come on up here and just make something up vocally. And so we actually wrote 3/4 of that song and the melodies and everything live in front of an audience that was beating the drum. That's why it's just such a special song to us. And
wow.
And then we recorded it a few months later in a recording studio with Enrique, who's a local legend around Fallbrook. Wow. And just a beautiful human. Him and Jimmy do lots of shows around here, and just wonderful people.
I had to pick that because my son is a percussionist. And I got so good when he would play the drums in the garage or whatever he was playing, I could sleep through it. So I definitely appreciate anybody who plays percussion. So let's listen to Reflections of Me.
I was only trying to find myself, concealed by the thought that to succeed was something else. We knowingly dove into realms of the unknown and found that life is more than what you want. Ooh, only trying to find myself. Oh, concealed by the thought that to succeed was something else. Knowingly dove into realms of the unknown and found that love is more than what you want. It's only part of your dreams. You're coming around in your mind. It's all just your dream. It's just a dream. It's just a dream now, yeah.
Love that song.
Thank you. I actually wrote all the lyrics to that song, and one of the pet peeves I have, and I don't think I've ever told this story before, but is it
Yay, an exclusive.
is the lack of respect for the English language, let's call it, and how to spell and use words properly. And one sentence in the song you'll hear now, I got to use all the forms of there. So all three of them, and in the same sentence, just to sort of make that point. There's no there. Yeah. So
Right.
anyway, that was
Yeah, yeah.
kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm reminded. I don't know if you're. In fact, I want to ask you about your own metaphysical background or your spiritual background, but this song reminds me of one of my favorite quotes from Jiddu Krishnamurti, which is relationship is the mirror in which you see yourself as you are.
Mm,
So the reflections in the mirror and all
perfect. Yeah.
that. I mean, obviously you're a pretty spiritual guy. You're a pretty metaphysical guy. So where does that come from? Where does that? What's your background with that?
Well, I think if anyone goes really, really deep intellectually, they'll always come to a point where it will only take you so far. And you'll realize that there's a whole world beyond the frontal cortex or the cortex, and everybody from Carl Jung to all of my heroes, Thoreau, they all hit a point where they realize that intellectualism will only get you so far, and it doesn't explain everything. And a lot of times we actually even have to dumb it down into words to try to understand it, and that which can't be put into words. And so I think in everybody's journey, just personal development journey or growth journey, they'll get to this intellectual point where it will no longer completely feed them, and it will have to take us into this next journey into the spiritual realm. And I'm not much for labels, and so I'm not bothered if people call it God or whatever they call it. That it's irrelevant to me. There's an energy and a connection that is far deeper than what intellectualism will provide for me personally, and it's a fun realm to be in, because quantum physics is very, very interesting, and the universal energies and sound frequencies and all of those kind of things, they take us way beyond what we can do with words, and that's where there's some great understanding and peace, I believe.
Wow. Listen, beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yes.
I'm not going to try to add anything to that. That was just great.
Well, I don't know if you know, like, I was an executive in the oil business for 20 years, and I was president and vice president of lots of different companies. We had millions of dollars. The boys grew up with privilege. But with the perfect storm downturn in the oil business, a 100-year flood, we had a big house on the river that flooded. And the Calgary was actually a war zone at that time. It was pretty spectacular in a weird way. And then going through a divorce, it made me take that opportunity to see that chasing money for the purpose of money is soulless. We need to be better than that. And the boys were asking some pretty important questions, like, do you really want me to follow in your footsteps, Dad? And so it brought some really great questions about, where happiness lives, how it even shows up. And we realize that it's not something you pursue. It's something that ensues from having a purpose greater than ourselves. And so when we decided to do the music thing, we just said, well, then we're not doing it the same as everybody else, because if we chase fame and fortune, we're going to be right at the same place that we've been with the oil business and all that money. So how do we give it meaning? And we just came to the conclusion that we could actually give every aspect of our life meaning, every detail of our life meaning, right from a hug. Like, we hug for 8 seconds instead of 1.5, and we actually really mean it. And details to that too, how I have a conversation. If there's 3 people in a room, you better not be doing more than 33.3% of the talking. Otherwise, you're not sharing the floor properly. There's a lot of those concepts that are lost on some people, and we just want to be aware of all of those beautiful details of being human.
I put on a series of talks, not from me, but featuring other kind of metaphysical and related thinkers. And one of them was Dr. Paul Zak from Claremont. He's the director of the Claremont College's Neuroeconomics Institute. I had to remember what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And he's known as the hug doctor, or the love doctor.
Wow!
And he's made a study in neuroeconomics, of all things, of how important it is for people to hug. And he actually has these T-shirts he puts out that are 8 hugs a day.
Love it. Yeah. And I'm an incessant reader, and I read everything from depth psychology to a whole bunch of weird stuff, and just because, the greater perspective, I'm in not attaching myself to anything, just curious. And one of the things that I've learned is humans are the only animal that will choose touch over food. Imagine how, if we just felt into how profound that one statement is, and then bring that understanding into all aspects of our life, because that's so important. It's led us to redesign how you're supposed to live, and how we're supposed to develop communities, and how isolated we are, and how little touch most people are getting, and how that affects the psyche and the entire nervous system and all of that kind of stuff. So it's the hugging thing, we kind of laugh as it's in passing, it's kind of important, but it's actually quite beyond kind of important. It's everything. And now we have concerts where hundreds and hundreds of people don't miss a show. And I think it's got something a little bit to do with the music, but I think it's a lot to do with, if you come to our show, you're going to get hugged 20 times. And so people come to get hugged. They come to get touched.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. That makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Sorry
Thank you for that. So moving on to Daring Greatly's second album, called Works of Art, which is an apt title.
Mhm.
A song with a most unlikely title, Shotgun.
Mhm.
Let's just give that a listen. Let's start there. Let's just give it a listen. Here we go. Shotgun.
Out here, you can hear the cries. Another gentle soul goes down. With love is my one and only defense. You can only go so far. Let's open up, and it'll take us to a higher place. Let hate be gone. It's time for us all to elevate. Loading my shotgun, fire away. Loading my shotgun, full of love and then I fire away. Don't you let him tell you what is right and what is wrong. Just follow your heart. As long as you know that we are one family, then help me sing this song. Loading my shotgun, fire away. Loading my shotgun, full of love and then I fire away. Loading my shotgun, fire
Wow. Dale, can you tell us, before I make any comments or Jeannie makes any comments, can you tell us, anything about Shotgun?
Yeah, I actually have a beautiful experience of writing that song. We were all writing it together. We were sitting around the kitchen table in Calgary, and Patrick had this amazing riff, and the word shotgun kept coming up, and we just thought, what are a bunch of loving hippies going to do with the word shotgun? And then we just started thinking about, shotgun is this broad approach, this broad stroke to things. What if we just go around and shoot everybody with the shotgun of love? And so we just started, and then it got deeper into, relationships people have with words, and even the word confidence, for instance, is an interesting dichotomy, and people have different relationships with that word, or and people have an interesting relationship, especially Americans, with anything to do with gun right now, because that topic is so politicized, I guess. And we were actually even touring in Washington State, and we were playing in a school because, again, we're giving everything we do meaning. This is not just a pursuit of fame and fortune. And they said, just one request, please don't play the song Shotgun. Everybody's a little sensitive right now. And I just thought that's actually the point of the song, is that you've developed a relationship with this word, but I'm using the word and going around and spreading love. Is the relationship more important than the message? And what other relationships do we have with words or assumptions or people or institutions or anything that's kind of been programmed over the last 50 years of our lives? It's time to question all of those things, because it's our relationship that we've developed and we've agreed to. It's an agreement that we've made that somehow shotgun is a bad word. But what about context? How important is that? So anyway, so now it's a show closer for us. It's such an energetic song, and there's only one way to get past hate, and that's to love. It's not to oppose hate. It's just to show up in love. And so that's what the song was about, is just to go around and shoot as many people we can with the shotgun of love.
So I have to ask, Dail, did you do the song even though they requested that you not do it?
I wish I had a different answer. But
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I had hope.
It's
That's okay.
There are institutions that I also have an agreement with that we should probably cooperate with.
Sure, absolutely. Right. I just wondered how much you were pushing the envelope at that point.
We're pushing.
Yeah, and that's great. That's great.
But discerningly.
Yes, that's important.
Yes.
And have discretion is the better part of valor. So yeah.
So true. Yeah. So true.
I was really struck by In the Distance. And I think my favorite line is nothing is real in the distance. So talk to me about In the Distance.
Yeah. Well, it's just our society is so destination addicted that, where success is right around the corner, retirement's right around the corner, the American dream is right around the corner. I mean, we're always working for something other than right where we're at, right the present moment. Mm-hmm. And so it was just, it was cool how that came together, and just to bring light to the fact that there is only one moment, and that's right here, right now. Mm-hmm. And all this future talk, all this looking forward to achieving things, it always just distracts us and takes us away from the only thing that's real. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was beautiful the way that came forward.
Awesome. Well, here we have a chance to rock out to In the Distance.
Yep, it's nothing real.
Clock wakes you up and you're at it again. Patience wears thin. Chained to a dead, you cannot escape. You ask all the questions, leave all the lies.
Yeah, that one makes me want to get up and dance.
There you go. That's got such a great ending. That great guitar solo. And you've got that 3 groove going on so strong in there. Yeah, the energy comes from right now.
Yeah.
And there it is. Wow.
Thank you.
When I approached you about doing this interview, you had mentioned that you did some nonprofit work, or that you had a nonprofit. I don't know anything about that, but you said you wanted to mention it. I want to honor that.
Well, it's a funny, again, we're making new agreements with everything, and I have a general philosophy that that charities are, in general, are band-aid solutions to systemic problems, and I'd rather look a little bit deeper into that. I also believe that people have been sort of forced into a very limited view on how to solve some social issues, and they're giving way too much power to governments to solve social issues, which I think is the wrong direction. And a lot of people are giving charities a lot of that faith to solve social issues, and neither one of those institutions or ideas or concepts are meant to solve social issues. I think leaders are, business leaders, financial leaders, spiritual leaders. We're the ones that are supposed to show up and do this. But when we do, we also have to understand the landscape. And the landscape is, we can create several for-profit companies that are continually perpetuating wealth, so that the energy of money doesn't stop. It continues to circulate into greater purpose, greater benefit businesses. But we also might as well take advantage of the nonprofit organization structure that allows certain other things. But it's always good to know its place. So it has utility, but it also has its place, just like the government, I guess. I mean, you'd have a hard time convincing me that the government has any utility right now, but let's say it does. It has some utility, but it's not the answer. The answer is us. It's how we show up, business leaders, how real leadership shows up. And that's really, this next phase. We're really calling on people to show up with their money, to show up with their business skills. Like someone like me that was an executive in the oil business, I could go out and make millions of dollars, or I could build businesses that solve really important social issues. Well, it's kind of an obvious answer for me.
So is this, I mean, everything you said is, I can't argue with any of it, but it's all conceptual. Is there anything concrete that you want to send people to, or make people aware of?
Yeah. Common Life Community is our nonprofit organization. It's a learning and growth organization that we're just sort of getting started, but it's online. We're building organic closed loop shrimp production facilities under the heading of food sovereignty for indigenous communities, and I call it decentralized food production solutions. That's even a part of a bigger vision that we have about decentralized infrastructure solutions, because I have this concept in my head that we're not supposed to live like we are individually or isolated. We're supposed to live in community. All the other animal kingdoms know this, but humans have kind of forgotten it. And so we're designing. I mean, there's a lot of concepts out there as far as sustainable communities go. I'm bringing this sophisticated financial model into that too, because if it's not financially sustainable, then it's not sustainable. That's the world so we have to grow our own food, and we have to create sophisticated financial models so that we can sustain ourselves. So we've done that. We're moving forward. We're creating partnerships with indigenous communities. We've signed the first couple LOIs. We're in our version 3 prototype of the shrimp production facility. Our partner is a world-renowned engineer engineering firm out of Fountain Valley, California. We're just what I really envision and dream of is that when people hear the Daring Greatly music and the message, they're going to be inspired, and then they're going to look deeper into how we live our lives and how we show up, and they're going to be equally as inspired about that.
That's a wonderful combination there. You've got the public face, this very attractive band, this very attractive music, and you've got this real world, concrete application of the thoughts and the philosophy of it. So,
yeah,
kudos.
And thank you for recognizing that. But it's also a scary place because we live in a world where people are throwing stones and even more dangerous metaphorical objects that have us continuously guarded, and it makes it harder and harder. And I think that's by design, but it makes it harder and harder to sort of carve your own path, think outside the existing models, because people are scared and they do some weird things when they're scared, and most of the through some form of criticism. And so we're always sort of walking the ledge, and it's not always easy.
So we go right back to the beginning with the Daring Greatly quote, right?
Well, that's really it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Even if we fail while daring greatly.
Exactly. Let's move on to your current recording, the "Give Myself to the World" album. I think each of us has chosen a couple off of it. I think as your vision gets more refined, it gets down to pithier pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Killing Time. This is your country piece.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
Yep. Calgary Stampede roots.
There you go. Let's just give it a listen. We've had a little bit of talking here. Let's give it a listen, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Here we go. Daring Greatly, Killing Time.
When I look outside, I'm amazed to see the things that cross my eyes. I begin to ride to escape a bitter world that clouds my sky. We say we care, but we never dare to change the comfort that we're bound to. But when I'm blind, it's time to find the bigger consciousness around you. Killing time. It's time to shine a light to expose the fears that we have built inside and ignore the lies. See the beauty that could be if we tried. Killing time. Killing time. Killing time.
Wow, that's a lot of fun. That is just so much fun. Oh my goodness. As a musician myself, I do have some musical observations. That one of the things that you guys have done a lot, and it's really effective, is have this kind of tension resolution, this problem and solution kind of formula with the minor verses and then going to the major on the chorus.
Yeah.
And it feels so darn good. I mean, you guys you got a wonderful sound, accomplished instrumentalists, beautiful vocalists, and this one does that. Over in this country, we don't tend to think of country songs as being this rhythmically and harmonically sophisticated.
Wow, great observations, Al.
Well, you make it work. You really make it work. Um, is there a banjo player in there, or is that just somebody finger picking on guitar to make it kind of banjo-ish? Do you remember?
There's a banjo.
Okay.
I think instead of learning how to play the banjo, I think, and even though all the boys are multi-instrumentalists, we couldn't have learned the banjo in 5 or 10 minutes. He probably needed about half an hour, and we didn't have that time. So we tuned it to guitar tuning, and Patrick picked it, the banjo during the song, just to give it that sound and give it that color and texture.
Wow.
Yeah, it worked out great.
Yeah, it's got that 16th note flowing thing in there. It's just wonderful.
Yeah.
And who's the fiddle player?
That is one of the top Canadian musicians, fiddle players, several awards, toured with all the biggest names. He's Denny Dufresne is his name, and he lives in Calgary, Canada, and we've worked with them a few times, and again, they're the biggest names in the industry, but they're great supporters of us and the boys and the music and Daring Greatly in general. So it was good to have them on the record.
So, what about your background as a musician, younger? I mean, you talked about being in the oil industry, but I have a feeling that you maybe as a younger man were a musician as well.
Yeah, I mean, that was my dream. I'd run around 6 and 7 years old and pretend I was playing in front of thousands of people, and that and being a hockey player, those were the two dreams. When I was 22, I finished college and moved to Nashville. Well, traveled around the United States and tried to make it in Nashville, and realized that everybody's good in Nashville, and I didn't really have anything special. I was just a good singer, but my musicianship wasn't awesome, like outstanding, and my songwriting ability wasn't outstanding. It was just all really good. And you could be really good in your town and be a local hero, but you can't just be really good and go to Nashville. Everybody's really good, so big deal. So I came back with my tail between my legs a little and decided to conform and do the corporate thing for a while and have some kids and family and everything. And so I would work Monday to Friday, and then Friday and Saturday, me and my brother-in-law had a duo in Calgary for 15 years. And so we played a lot of music and a lot of weekends. And I had the boys on stage as much as I could just to give them the hours and the experience, never thinking that we were going to do this, just because it's great experience. And whether you're going to public speak or present in a corporate environment, it's good to step into some form of confidence to be able to do that, right? Mm-hmm. So
absolutely.
And then the boys got really good with their formal music training on their instruments to be able to be invited on stage with their instruments, and then it went from there. So
Al was talking about the rhythm in Killing Time, and I love the rhythm in Love Myself Again. And Al, I can't think, what is the term? Because they'll come to a complete stop and then start again, and I forget what the term is for that.
Well, it's a break,
Just a break. Okay, yeah. But they were just so fun that I just really got into that rhythmically. But then I was really wondering about the title, Love Myself Again, because to do something again means you have done it before. So I was really curious as to where Love Myself Again came from.
Yeah, well, it's we've probably played it 80 times now live, and I think I've probably cried 69 of them. It's so powerful of a song for me. Again, we talk about tension, and you parallel that to the experience of letting go of all the stuff we've been carrying around so that we can discover who we truly are, so that we can again love ourselves again. And that's sometimes a terrifying series of acts as well. So there's a lot of tension in that song to sort of mirror or parallel that experience. And the again part, it's a great question, is of course we're born that way. And then we're taught not to be that way, or conditioned.
Yeah.
And then we have to unlearn and heal everything that we've learned and been taught and conditioned, so that we can love ourselves again. And very proudly, Patrick wrote that riff, and Liam wrote all of the lyrics. And I think Liam wrote the lyrics when he was maybe 21 or 22 years old. So it's again just wonderful that the young people are coming from that deep place. I love.
Well,
I think
that it's probably a case of the nuts not falling too far from the tree.
It very well could be. And what's beautiful, though, is we at the beginning you said that I was the leader of the band, and of course, a band really can't have any hierarchy. It kind of undermines empowering everybody. And I know you were probably just showing some respect or something, but it's never been like that with us. Even though they're my kids, I even had to sort of get rid of that father hierarchy and just be an equal thing. But what that did was it opened up this beautiful communication channels for multi-generational co-creation. So I'm the and the teacher, and they're the students and the teachers, and I think that's led to some amazing things. So again, I would never sit here and take credit for the wonderful humans that they are, even though I had a hand in it. But I would certainly give them a lot of credit in helping me to develop who I'm becoming. Wow. Yeah. So Liam did an amazing job with that song.
Well, let's listen to Love Myself Again by Daring Greatly before I start to cry.
Are breaking down. I'm finding ways to work around the things that make me slip back, flip out, and run around to find out how I feel. I gotta step back and see what's real and trust my heart. Taking hold of me and concealed who I wanna be. It's time to take it back now, take it back and slow it all down to a place where I can see myself and not blinded by nobody else. free from all my doubts. To feed my soul, I gotta find my way back home and remember who I am. Oh yeah, but I can't roll around the things I can't control and love myself again. The dots in my mind will not help me to find love. Ooh, ooh. My soul is divine, time to see what I'm made of. To feed my soul, I gotta find my way back home and remember who I am. Ooh yeah. But I can't roll around the things I can't control and love myself again.
That's just beautiful to know that it was an old soul in a young body that wrote those lyrics.
That's it really is a fantastic, it's a powerful song. It really is, you know. And I'm going to go back to what I was talking about before, the minor to major thing, because I think in this song, if I'm right, I might not be, because it's the minor verse and then it goes to the major in the chorus again on the Love Myself. And I think if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the time when you finally hit the major tonic, you get there, is on that lyric, Love Myself Again. And it's just such a payday. I mean, I get goosebumps, it's just wonderful. And then those guitar and organ solos that the boys are doing. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of a risk in being called a jam band, but it's a little bit of bugger you to the music industry that wants to formalize everything and into 3-minute and 23-second radio song, and so it's a little bit of that too. Well,
yeah, I'm not worried about any of that. I'm in heaven listening to this stuff. So there's a lyric in this, I got to find my way back home and remember who I am. And that ties beautifully into my next choice, which is metanoia, which is a word most people don't know.
Yeah.
I think even a lot of people that are kind of spiritual, they hear it, they see it occasionally. I'll be honest, I had to kind of look it up, even though once I looked it up, I realized that the definition was in your lyrics.
Yeah.
So,
that's a fun one too, because I had never heard the word before, and all within sort of a 4-week to 6-week span, Braden Terrio, our drummer, came with the words to metanoia, and then I was reading some Carl Jung book, and there's the word. It's like I'm 53 years old and I see it in a book for the first time, just literally a couple weeks after Braden had brought that word and that song to the band. I mean, it is how the universe works, and I have complete faith in it because it shows up all the time. I'm no longer even surprised by it.
Well, maybe we should share the definition, even though it's in the lyrics.
Okay.
In case they don't catch it in their lyrics, that it's a profound spiritual transformation or connection.
Yeah.
True enough. And I'm gonna piggyback on that. And I'm gonna quote the lyrics where it says, "And beyond the mind we will find metanoia." And the literal translation from the Greek is meta, beyond, and then noia, mind.
Yeah. The heart.
So let's give it a listen. How about that? How about we give the listeners the chance to enjoy this? Here we go. Metanoia.
In my mind I see a world that I perceive. These thoughts do I own, or are they taught and on to me, starting to see just who I am. Who I Are we getting more? Moving closer to the truth. Oh, you're not alone. Back to the heart. Then beyond the mind, we will find. Oh, yeah. Species divided from war and deceit. We were anchored to our borrowed beliefs. Oh, now I understand. I know you.
You know, I do not want that song to ever end. I don't. I just want it. It's one of those songs that you know, after however many minutes go by, you just want it to keep going. I don't know if you ever do that in performance, but yes, I'm gonna suggest it if you don't, because it feels so good. You've got you've got the sense of alienation that it starts with, and then it builds so beautifully into hope, into the final realization of metanoia or unity or whatever you want to call it. You know,
Yeah.
it just I mean, it's just super effective.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun when again when you create those tensions and we can take it as far as we want, and when it comes into this melodic major chord 5-part harmony, big choruses, you know, it brings a feeling all over that things are going to be okay.
Well, no argument here. Yeah, that's a success.
There was one lyric in Killing Time that I'm really happy, and again Liam wrote the lyric probably when he was 21 or 22, but he said, we say we care, but we never dare to change the comfort that we're bound to. Like that's insanely profound. And again, from a 21 or 22-year-old to write that, because we're not collectively, we're not, we don't have the kind of reverence for time that we absolutely should have. We're just spending it like it's always going to be there, and of course it's not. And you know, it's great impetus for us to get up every morning and do just a little bit more and show up just a little bit more, so that you know, we're not one of those people that you know, we're bound to this comfort, and therefore everything else looks scary outside of that, and so we're apathetic and sort of paralyzed. And I think that's what's going on. And there's a lot of people that are unhappy with the way the world is going, but they're comfortable enough that they don't want to upset that comfort. And I think that might be by design too.
Yeah, I mean, well, or the fall of Rome, right? Where it's Rome can't be bothered with what's going on out in the provinces.
Yeah, right.
Right. So now we're going to go to the title song of this album, "Give Myself to the World," which when I was listening to it, I just sort of pictured myself standing on a hill with my arms outstretched, giving myself to the world. But I love the lyric, "No duality between you and me." And I know that duality or non-duality is one of Al's favorite things to look into and think about and read about. So talk to us about "Give Myself to the World," and specifically speak to the non-duality part.
Yeah. Again, just, you know, we have lots of deep conversations in this multi-generational co-creative band that we have, and sharing ideas. And it was really just a declaration that we know that happiness comes from having a purpose greater than ourselves. We're building several businesses that have greater purpose and greater benefit. It really is just our declaration song. We're here to serve, period. And so we're going to give ourselves to the world we can play music and we can sing. We have some business ideas and skills. We have an imagination that's pretty spectacular, and we have this band that has an unconditional love that probably makes us a little bit more powerful than many individuals, because when we know we fall, it's going to be a soft place, and so that makes us pretty fearless. And so that song is just our declaration song. We're here to.
Well, let's listen to Give Myself to the World, Daring Greatly's declaration song.
We are wandering like lost, forget about left or right. Caught myself somewhere between bitterness and a light. Please help me see from it inside of me. There are times when I find mother cultures in my mind, in a pool of sinking sand. Mother Nature takes my hand to help me see the light inside of me. I give myself to the world, let it out with the world, 'cause I know we're all just singing along here together. I give myself to the world, let it out with the world, 'cause in the end we're all just singing along here together. Flowing gently down the stream, oh how life is but a dream. Soared by the billions, never been free, no duality between you and me. Feel the energy and just let it be. I give myself to the world, let it out with the world, 'cause I know we're all just singing along here together. I give myself to the world, let it out with the world, 'cause in the end we're all just singing along here together. Give myself to the world, let it out with the world, 'cause I know we're all just singing along here together. I give myself to the world, let it out with the world, 'cause in the end we're all just singing along, all just singing along here together.
Yep, that's a keeper.
We have some, we were discovered about a year and a half ago by some of the biggest names in the industry, and Metanoia and Give Myself to the World were the two songs that really got their attention. Those are the two songs that started conversations, and they're the two songs that are taking us to the level
Wow.
So we're pretty excited about, as the dust is still settling, the big ships take a long time to turn, but but the dust is settling, it seems, and these names, Give Myself to the World was really the big song that sort of captured.
Well, I'm glad for that, but I know all the other ones can't be too far behind either.
Well, we kind of believe that life is sort of content driven. And so we're not looking at writing hits. We're looking to continuously and perpetually create relevant art and expression that maybe makes a person feel better, inspires, does what art's supposed to do.
Yeah, and I'm going to say though that you do have an earworm in that song, and that is follows me around. It really does. The give myself to the world, give myself to that. Just the hook. I mean, it's powerful and it works. And if you have a hit, you'll just have to live with it, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Oh darn.
Well, I mean, we do imagine, 80,000 people with their hands in the air, everybody singing, I give myself to the world, so that we can all make the declaration that we're all just singing along here together. And I don't know if any other image could be as beautiful as that.
Yeah. Well, that takes us to the end of the choices that Jeannie and I have made. And of course, they've all been kind of centered around this idea of meaning and spirituality and some greater purpose. But you may have some favorite song that maybe doesn't even fit that mold, or is there something that you would like people to go, this is pretty good, I really like this one too? Is there something else that we ought to include?
Yeah, there's a couple of special ones. I mean, Shine has always been a really, really special one for us. The stars are now aligned. It's time for you to shine. And again, it's just empowering people to say you are good enough and you are important and the world needs you and everybody needs to step up and shine in their own unique ways. It's, there's not winners and losers as the world might present to us. And so that one's really special. And we got our first standing ovation with that song. So it's very special. And it was actually before we even finished the song and finished the words that we got the standing ovation. So that was at the Belly Up, which is a legendary place. And Hey Hurrah is another one that's just so special. It just literally means there is joy. And it's another one of those songs that, we have the vision of 80,000 people singing Hey Hurrah together, just to feel that same vibration as we're saying Hey Hurrah and declaring that there is joy. Well, I always like to get a little goofy with stuff, but quantum physics tells us that the observer is just as important as the actor, and our energy in observation is very profound in any equation. So what are we observing? And if we're observing that there is joy, then there's probably joy. And if we're observing that there's nothing but conflict, as if maybe the TV would portray, then that's what we're thinking is reality. And scientifically, that is at the crux of it all. So what are we observing? And so in those moments that art can provide and music can provide, for all of us to feel into that song and sing Hey Hurrah, to know that there is, to chant, to pray, that there is joy. That's what we're observing, and that's how we're living, and that's how things are showing up in our lives. It's pretty spectacular.
Well, Dail, you've taken us to school. We think of ourselves as studied and all that, but
don't speak for yourself, Al.
Well, No, what a pleasure. What a real pleasure this has been.
Mhm.
Where, if folks, some of the people listening to this will have never heard of Daring Greatly. Where should they go to find out more information about Daring Greatly?
Daring-greatly.com is our website, and all our shows and our stories and everything is on there. We have a Patreon page that people subscribe to, like from $3.99 a month all the way up to $30 a month, and we're all over the internet. Once you find us, you won't be able to escape us.
That's not a bad thing.
It is the world today, but
There we go.
but I believe in what I believe in what we're selling. Patch. I believe in what we're selling.
Well, that's
Thank
the
you
only
so
way you
much.
can sell it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you for taking the interest and actually truly listening to the music and hearing the things that were intended to be heard. Both of you, thank you very much. It's appreciated.
Oh, you're very welcome, and I'm sure our audience will do the same. And I would be very surprised if you don't get a lot of new followers out of this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to Real Conversations, exploring the meaning behind the music. Real Conversations is produced by the New Thought Radio Network, sharing a vibration of love, positivity, and empowerment through a variety of media streams. Learn more on the web at newthoughtmedianetwork.org. Listen to past episodes of Real Conversations on the podcast page at newthoughtradio.net. Until next time, peace and blessings. Go forth and prosper.